Peace and blessings and good evening. Welcome to another edition of King Talk Tuesdays. I'm your host, Andy King, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. Here on King Talk Tuesdays, we cover so many topics, including education, health, economics, spirituality, and so much more. I look forward to you all joining me for more dynamic and inspiring conversations each and every week. King Talk Tuesday streams live on Facebook and on YouTube every Tuesday at 8 p.m. King Talk Tuesday also airs on BronxNet every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. and on Opto Channel 70, as well as Files 2136 and a number of streaming services, which include Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Millennial TV 24, and Clash TV. I encourage all our viewers to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Andy King, King Talk Tuesday. That's right, King Talk Tuesday. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any episodes. Also, please check your local listings to catch more King Talk Tuesdays airing throughout the week. I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in and watching King Talk Tuesdays over the past couple of years. You know what I always say, right? You know what I tell people to remember. People pay attention to people who participate. So tell a friend, tell a neighbor that King Talk Tuesdays is on, and they can drop a comment or a question on our Facebook or YouTube, or they can email us at kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Our email address again is kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com for any questions and comments to be live on tonight's show. We'll be right back on King Talk Tuesdays after a number of words from our friends.
Welcome to Therodynamics, where we get you back to life. We offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We accept all major insurances. Don't worry about an appointment. At Therodynamics, walk-ins are accepted. We have locations in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and New Jersey. Our therapists, combined with our cutting-edge technology, will get you back to life. Visit our website at www.therodynamics.com for locations, services, and more.
Hi, Frank Perez here from Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, where you'll always pay the least in the East. There has never been a better time to stop in and save. Right now, during our summer savings event, take advantage of some incredible offers with savings up to $15,000 off MSRP on every new Jeep in stock. Even lease a new Jeep Compass for just $299 a month with zero due at signing. That's zero due at signing, just sign and drive. Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, pay the least in the East.
It's Jeep season.
Oh, yeah, you want to pay the least in the East with Eastchester Chrysler Jeep. Well, we want to thank also Therodynamics that are all over the Bronx and beyond for putting us back to life. So if you have a knee problem, a back problem, a head problem, an elbow problem, a foot problem, or just a physical problem, Therodynamics is the answer. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening, but you know what I really want to know? Oh, yeah, like the great rhythm and blues artist and writer Marvin Gaye used to say, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Well, let's talk about what's going on. Want to let you know, Sunday, July 30th, want you to know at 2 p.m., Black Men, Our Votes and Our Voices, Our Issues. It's a conversation featuring Congressmember Jamal Bowman, our Congressman Jamal Bowman, and Antoine, and his name is Antoine Seabright, Democratic strategist. They're going to have that conversation about Black men, our votes, our voices, and our issues. No one can talk to our issues like we can talk to our issues. So I applaud the both of them, a Congressmember Bowman and our good brother Seabright for having this conversation. And if your schedule allows, please join in and tune in on July 30th. Second, we want to let you know, August is right around the corner, and we're talking about festivals galore for the 50th hip hop. We want to let you know that on August 5th, the Rock the Bells Festival is going to be at Forest Hill Stadium in Queens, featuring MC Sha-Rock, the first woman of MC. You know, we love her here on King Talk. MC Light, one of my favorites. Also, you know what? I know they say he's a tramp, but Salt-N-Pepa gets it right when they get their rap groove going on. And you can't have any kind of event like this if you don't have the queen herself, Queen Latifah, that's going to be a part of this night. Ludacris, Big Daddy Kane is going to be out, and so many more are going to be joining that night at Forest Hill. Rock the Bells. Thank you, LL Cool J, for your vision, your energy, and putting this great event together in honor of Hip Hop 50. Also, we want to let you know on August 11th, which is the actual anniversary. You know, it's like your birthday. If your birthday is February 11th. You can't celebrate it January 11th. So we're saying today, we're letting everybody know. If you didn't know, this flyer here is talking about it. August 11th at Yankee Stadium, there will be a great hip hop concert that's going to be happening on that day as well. And secondly, also on the 11th, the Hip Hop Universal Hip Hop Museum will be having an event along with Rappermania, and it's going to be a great showcase that they're going to present out there at Mill Pond Park. It's going to be on the same day, earlier in the day, starting at 12, and they got a great lineup too that's going to be featuring the Fearless Four, Chuck D, Cool Cows, the Star Child, and many more. So if you start your day early, make your way over there to Hip Pond Park. We want everyone to be there. Mill Pond Park is right across the street from the Universal Hip Hop, the anchor that they have right there until they open up next year. So if you can, make sure you show up on that day to kick off the anniversary, the birthday of the 50th year of hip hop. We also want you to know that Rise Up NYC Summer Concert Series is back. Yes, it's back. It's summertime and it's hot and the music's going to be jamming. So we're thankful and grateful for Rise Up NYC, their summer concert series that's going to be starting on August 9th. August 9th at Orchard Beach. August 9th at Orchard Beach from 6 to 9 p.m. And guess who will be featured? Fat Joe and Ja Rule. That's going to be a great show. Fat Joe and Ja Rule. Can't get any better good time than going out there on the beach and enjoying those two brothers doing their thing. Also, we want to let you know, Sunday, in honor of Sunday, August 13th, that is, in honor of DJ K Slay, we will let you know there's going to be a street renaming in honor of our DJ for all the inspiration and the energy and the work he put in as a mixologist on the Wheels of Steel. So that's going to happen 11 a.m. on August 13th, East 105th Street and First Avenue, hosted by Papoose with special invited guests, 50 Cent, Remy Ma, and Busta Rhymes, and so many more. We also want to let you know that Mayor Eric Adams, our honorable mayor, has announced that a Bronx native, Edward Caban, is now our new NYPD commissioner. We want to congratulate for being the first Latino in this position, but a Bronxite as well. So we want to thank him and congratulations. And I got to say, with all the challenges that we're having with safety, NYPD is doing what NYPD can do. The mayor, they're offering and doing what they can. Whether you are happy or not, I'm going to give them that A for trying. I'm going to give them the A for commitment. I'm going to give them an A for managing what we have to manage through this COVID, through rules engagement, through rule changes. Will we be happy with everything that everyone does? No, we won't. But we are not going to throw our men and women under the bus, because at the end of the day, when things go wrong, after you call on Jesus, you're dialing 911. So let's make sure we get it right and make sure that the city of New York is protected. And we want to, again, congratulate our new commissioner, Edward Caban, for taking on the helm for NYPD. And last but not least, we want to let you know that Jesus Week is right around the corner. That's right. Jesus Week starts on the 29th. That's Saturday, 29th. But it concludes on August 5th. And there will be a Jesus Week Unity Walk here in the Bronx, North Bronx, on August 5th at 11 a.m., starting from Gun Hill Road and Pearson Avenue. That's right in front of the church there, right next to McDonald's. And then the walk is going to go down to Astor Little League Field, which is right down here, right across the street from Chuck E. Cheese and Home Depot, for those who know the area. We're going to take that walk down, bring it back, this walk that was so instrumental in uniting people here in the Bronx, especially in the north part of the Bronx. But we want to say we're one family under the word and the scripture of Jesus. So as we conclude Jesus Week and here in the Bronx, there's going to be this walk. We're asking everybody who want to be a part. Please reach out, send an email to kingtalk2022@gmail to confirm your participation. And want everybody to know about it. And then that march is going to lead into Astor Field, where Fun in the Sun will be returning. As a council member, I partnered up with them and created my own. We had created a community engagement day. The 12th district made it live, organized us, that we had a wonderful time as a community and united ourselves as a community. So that is returning with the great Donnie McClurkin, who will be performing. It'll be a gospel concert, prayer, spirituality, just a wonderful day for us to come together as one neighborhood, one community, and one soul under the words of Christ. So we're thankful, looking forward for that fun day. I'll be praying for that. We got good 80-degree weather and no rain. So tonight's show, when we start talking on spirituality and social justice, there's one gentleman that I've known for quite some time. Matter of fact, almost all of my life as a teen, going back in time when we grew up and just had to do the work and grow up managing the community and going up and just loving the community and just working in the community and playing in the community and serving the community. And he's been serving this community for over decades as the TA president of NYCHA's Gun Hill Houses. We are so thankful and grateful to have my brother from another mother here tonight for the first time. Welcome to King Talk Tuesday, the good brother, Robert Hall. Come on and join us, Big Rob.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy King. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. I do understand it's a lot that you have going on. Not only are the TA president, your position in Community Board 12 is?
Housing chair. Oh. I got it all.
All right.
I got it all. You name it, I got it.
That's a good way to connect the dots too and stay in the loop. So that's a good thing. So let's get into, questions are starting to come in already, but let's just jump right into who is Robert Hall? And they want to know it because we use the acronyms TA, and NYCHA. So talk to the people and let us know. We're going to start it simple. What does it mean to be a TA president? What is TA within the NYCHA housing?
A TA president, it's a selfless job, all right? You're not elected, but you are selected. And your job is to get a board and to handle many facets of low-income problems that take place within the confines of the New York City Housing Authority. And what makes that unique is the Housing Authority loves to play games. And they'll tell you in so many words things you want to hear, but they do what they want to do. A good case in point would be what took place during our pandemic, all right? As we had our regular meetings every month, when the pandemic hit, everything closed down. But that's when NYCHA woke up and decided privatizing developments. And this was an onslaught because they were running out of money, because they're not getting funding from Congress the way they used to receive it. So this has become quite problematic. And they decided to own the land and start privatizing developments. And unfortunately, the developments in the surrounding area of Community Board 12 are all slated to be obtained by non-for-profits. Now, they don't call it privatization. They have another word for it, but it's all the same, all right? A non-for-profit is not going to acquire a housing development unless they're going to receive profits. Now, that's common sense, all right? But they dress it up, and like I said, they own the land. And our grandchildren, should we survive and pass these apartments on, they won't have a clue as to what to do to maintain the best efficiency and know-how that's necessary to compete with the Housing Authority. So once again, they win and we keep battling. And if we don't battle, we'll be homeless.
Well, that's deep. And we just jumped right out of the frying pan into the fire on that one. And I do understand what privatization can mean for NYCHA. But I want to come back to that because some people are asking questions to understand what does the acronym NYCHA mean. And you being an expert,
NYCHA stands for New York City Housing Authority. And that's a quasi-city agency. Just be mindful of that fact. It is a city agency. And they are in charge with, we used to have about 350 housing developments previously. But as I said, little by little, they've gotten rid of a lot of developments. And at this precise moment, I only have a number of developments that exist. I will tell you that about 44% of the housing developments in the Northeast Bronx have been slated to be given to non-for-profits.
Wow. So we're talking about going into non-for-profits, what we be saying, is this part of the work that you have to do every day with other TA presidents, or is this a social justice platform that you all have to work on? Because we do want to understand as a TA president, what are some of the other issues that, other than the privatization, which appears to be an overhaul of the system. Can you talk to us a little bit more about some of the other issues that you fight as a TA president?
Well, as a TA president, you have to maintain the best interests of low-income housing, because that's really what you're about. And there is a very pervasive mannerism in New York City where they're trying to do away with low-income housing in its entirety. And this is what the battle is. And you must understand, a lot of the presidents, and some who really should be on this call, but they're busy because of the privatization. And I fully understand. They're tired. It's an unpaid, and I want you to understand, it's an unpaid position. Although, because we don't look like bums, they're going to tell you in a minute, every president stole something. But to be honest with you, it's an unpaid position of power within the confines of housing developments. And you have a board of directors, you're the head of the board of directors for your particular development, and you have to make things work. If there's not enough people working in your development, you need to lobby to get what's necessary in the best interest of the needs pertaining to your development. A great case in point would be about 12 years ago, we had no management. We were consolidated with Parkside Houses. It was a mess. And I gotta say, back then I was saved because I went out to the public and I got assistance. And obviously Andy King knows, because he rendered a lot of assistance to keep Gun Hill to where it is today. All right. And we had to ascertain funding. You need to do an assessment to know exactly what your needs are. And at the same time, you have to keep up with the authority. Whatever tricks they put out there, you have to stay abreast with it. And you have to have the know-how and the ingenuity to keep up with what they're presenting, to combat it in the best interest of your particular development. And you have to maintain the development in the best interest of living, to be honest. That's what it comes down to.
Right. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, because we did work together when I was in the council, do all I can after you brought the challenges that you're experiencing. I'd gone home and did what we supposed to do. Help.
Oh, you did a tremendous job, because we were in the ruins. Yeah. I can remember standing in the middle of the grass area, all right, and I always say this, with a rake and putting leaves in. And there were some residents, they're sitting right now in front of one of my buildings. They felt so sorry for me, they came out and helped. And we just put leaves in a bag, you know. But I was very fortunate because I moved up and I got on the resident advisory board, and there was a gentleman who listened to me. And I told him, I am a second generation TA president. My mother was a TA president for the same development. And he was shocked. So what he did, they found some money and they gave us our independence back. And he told me he was sorry for interrupting the history of Gun Hill.
Oh, well, kudos to you on that one, because yes, that was one of the worst things they could have done, was consolidate y'all and then treat y'all like they treated y'all worse than stepchildren.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. You know, people had to go all the way to White Plains Road between AD and Arno Avenue to talk to their housing assistant. And some of my seniors are so old, they lost their wallets as they were going.
Oh, gosh.
We got ambushed.
Yeah.
We got ambushed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But we got back, and through your assistance, along with others, we were able to push ourselves up and get up on our bootstraps and become a vibrant housing development. And even with this pandemic, with this privatization, we remain independent. And I got residents who are telling me about their family members and what they're going through and what's going to happen. And I told them, we are going to keep public housing public. We're not going nowhere. You know?
I thank you for that. And for the record, we did reach out to a number of your colleagues who are TA presidents due to scheduling and in meetings. You know, they're fighting that good fight to prevent privatization or understand what privatization means. But again, when we start talking about privatization, do we keep a balance when it comes to those who can afford to live in what was known as NYCHA developments? So the question I have to ask you as a TA president, as you're protecting Gun Hill from the takeover, what can you offer a NYCHA development that's struggling, trying to figure out if that's the best thing for them, or are they strong enough to stay under the management of NYCHA?
Well, the management of NYCHA is going through various changes. They have an opportunity now that they call the trust. Now, I don't trust the trust because they never paid their bills on time. And you know that because you were in the city council. And if you have a very bad habit of not paying your bills on time, how are you going to go to Albany, which is what they did while we were in a pandemic, and get an opportunity to ascertain up to $10 billion? All right. Now they're probably going to have this money, and they're going to tell you that this money was urgently needed so they could fix a lot of developments. But my question is, are you going to pay your bills on time? And if you are not going to pay your bills on time, are you going to use these apartments as collateral? Because that's what this is really about. All right. People can lose their homes if these folks don't do what they set out to say they are going to do. Right. And that's where the problem is. That's why I cannot trust the trust. And that's what's out here. So it's a battle. But before you begin the battle, you have to understand the circumstances. And we have tried to go to Albany and block their progression, but we were not successful at that. The 964 rules and regulations are the rule book in which the New York City Housing Authority is supposed to operate under. And one of the criteria that exists in the 964 rules is that any move that is done by the Housing Authority needs to have the input of the residents. When they did this during the pandemic, the residents, they were trying to survive. They didn't know what was going on. So they picked that time to go to Albany to get all of this strategization on the table, and they got approved. So here they are. Now they got trust money. They had a CEO who was a privatization specialist. His name was Greg Russ. All he did was privatize places like Cabrini in Chicago. They no longer exist.
Right.
Greg Russ went there and made sure, and he got a pretty penny for doing it.
Oh, you can only imagine.
He used to fly home on the weekend, so you know how much money he was getting.
Oh yeah.
So this is what happens,
Oh wow, it's sad to say. So that means it's a struggle and fight, and as people pay attention to people who participate can make noise to your elected officials. Getting people to participate when they're trying to figure out how to keep the lights on is another thing. So I truly understand what the plight is in NYCHA, and it's just sad that those who have the power, who represent us, need to listen to our constituency. But our constituency at times needs to wake up just a little bit more, to put a little bit more fire under some folks. More fire under some folks. Listen, let's change the subject right quick. We'll dance around and come back around. But we want to know a little bit about, part of the good stuff that's happening there in Gun Hill. How do you promote and encourage safe community gatherings within Gun Hill houses? Because you are still one of the favorite sons of the 5 NYCHAs that are in this immediate territory of the North Bronx that's doing their thing. So talk to us a little bit about.
Well, it's been problematic, to be honest with you.
Okay. Because
of us being blindsided by this privatization piece. We were not built for this type of war. However, the strong are going to survive. They really are. And you have to present some type of an action plan. And in Gun Hill, we've been very fortunate. But as far as opportunities for people to be thankful, it's the simple fact that we need to be thankful for the mere roof that we have over our heads. All right? We got our hallways painted. We got LED lighting in the hallways. Thank God, Andy King, when you were the councilman, we were able to get playgrounds fixed. We got that going. Our grounds look relatively decent. And now they're really shining. They're really shining. And a lot has to do with what you did in the past, all right? Because our entire circumference of Gun Hill, Holland Avenue, Magenta Street, White Plains Road, and Gun Hill Road, all of that was cemented, re-cemented. So it's not like a landmine if you have a walker. and that's a serious acquisition.
Yeah,
a landmine when you're rolling down the block. At least you can roll straight.
Right.
But you know, like you say, people pay attention to people participate. You got to be out here. Now that we've accomplished that, you know, we've had drawbacks. I got folks now that are upset because we had to have a Hope Day and a Family Day at the same time, and that was in June. And you know, Gun Hill is used to having a Family Day in August, but we couldn't do it because we can't get enough police protection. I just had a mental health episode with a resident yesterday, you know, she had to get arrested, you know, but these are nuances that we have to deal with. And folks have to understand things that they may not want to understand, but they need to understand. All right. No one's doing these things on purpose. Right. But like I said, we're very fortunate here. We really are. And I love where I live. And I want this to be, I know it's one of the better developments. We have a building right now that has no gas. But you want to know something? The persistence. I have now been told that on the 24th of July, they're going to start creating some type of pilot program to start instituting all the gas risers in that building. And it's going to take about 2 months, but hopefully by the end of September, they're going to have their gas. But when I went down to the Department of Buildings and said, I have a development that has no gas outage, you know what they told me? They said, NYCHA does not help buildings that have no gas. They don't do nothing for them. But in Gun Hill, they came up with that money. They came up with that money, and the name of the game was to get Con Ed and the Department of Buildings in the same room. So this is something that just happened, and we're thankful that it took place. But at the realm of doing that, we've had to refocus the things we want to do in the best interest of the people who live here, which is to create programs for the youth. I'm very thankful that we have swimming outside, that they got a pool, because we didn't even have that 7 or 8 years ago. But we've come a long way in a short period of time, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're really going to get there. All right? We've been very fortunate, but we're going to get there.
Yes, you are. You're going to get there, and I know the power of the Most High Christ is watching over you all there at Gun Hill, and like I said, you know, I'm glad and grateful that all the work that I've known you do and accomplish and the advocacy has paid itself off, and you hit it better than anyone else can. When you have agencies working together, things get done. It's when every agency thinks that their responsibility is more important than the other person's responsibility, and then no one wants to work as a team. So kudos to you on that. We are right now at halftime of King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. We're going to be right back on King Talk Tuesdays after a couple of messages from some of our friends.
Good Neighbors Community Outreach Agency provides programs that help community residents improve their lives and support their families. Are you in need of food, clothing, employment, or a home. We also provide immigration services and passport renewal.
Hi, I'm Pastor Glad.
And I'm Lady D.
We're here to serve you.
Need help? Ask us.
You can reach us by calling 718-652-3288 or visit us at gncdcny.org.
Revolution of hip hop. Bronx Terminal Market. 610 Exterior Street. Bronx, New York. Tuesday through Sunday. Pull up.
The Golden Era, 1986 through 1990.
Oh yeah, the golden era of hip hop and Good Neighbors. I want to thank them all for all the work that they do, and they are part of heading up the Fun in the Sun Gospel Fest that's going to be happening that I mentioned to you on August 5th. And there is that Jesus Walk that's going to happen, for Jesus Week Unity Walk that's happening before that on Gun Hill Road, and the week before the start of Jesus Week on the 29th, there also is going to be a walk down the Grand Concourse from Mount Eden. So we're asking everyone, please be a part of this time. Hasn't been done before here in the borough of the Bronx, and we want to make sure that we're all engaged in the spirituality. You know, for me, you know, like I said, it's halftime. I always got to get my stretch on. When in the process of getting my stretch on, so I can make sure as a former basketball, I keep shooting hopes for peace, and I shooting it for Jesus, you know, and that's what it's all about. You know, we've gone through a lot of things as a neighborhood. We continue to go through things as a people, and we will always have to manage trials and tribulations. But in order to grow from those trials and tribulations, take those life lessons for something that you could put in your tool belt as you continue to move forward in this life. You know, I always say to young people, you're younger, and you're in your teens, in your 20s, you're scrappy, you're strong, you're full of confidence. Some are arrogant, and they think they got it together. It's the second part of life where the victory comes, where you understand, where wisdom sets in, and the follies are not your everyday existence. So I say to each and every one, as we move through these days, find your spirituality. For me, it's the Most High in Christ. And I look up and I look to him, and I wave and pray to the heavens each and every day and thank him for allowing me to live and allowing me to love, allowing me to serve, but more importantly, allowing me to forgive myself, forgive others, forgive the world, but more importantly, being able just to forgive the essence that causes so much headache and heartache to so many folks. When you do that, you find that center peace in your life. And when you do that, you can pray for yourself. You can pray for your family. You can pray for your friends. You can pray for your community. You can pray for your enemies. You can pray for your frenemies. But you can just pray and believe and give it up to God once you do. And watch the miracles and the blessings fall beyond you, bestowed upon your soul as you walk in Scripture. You walk in love and you walk in the words of Christ. Well, we're here on King Talk Tuesdays talking about Christ, talk about spiritual. Have a good man that's on the show, but we are here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and our YouTube channel. We ask you, please do all you can to subscribe to our YouTube channel, King Talk Tuesdays, and check us out every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. on Optimal Channel 70 and Files Channel 2136. We also are streaming on a number of streaming services such as Amazon Prime, Roku TV, Millennial TV 24, and Clash TV. So please tune in, check out. Our email address is kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. If you got a question, a thought, drop it in so Brother Hall can answer a question or just give a comment to us. We just want to hear from and say thank you for everyone who is tuning in right now, and all praises to the Most High to cover the rest of the second half of the show. As we jump back into the second half of the show, I see a number of folks have checked in tonight, so I just want to give a good shout out to Pastor Deborah Jenkins, who's giving us a shout out from the beginning, saying, "Hey Annie, all right, well, Mr. Hall from Pastor Deb for Black Talk Forum. We thank her for her show that she does each and every day, and she also gives Mr. Hall a shout out, saying she has known him for 2 months and have been able to see his incredible work on behalf of Gun Hill Houses. He has welcomed me as the new program director at Gun Hill Cornerstone, and we say congratulations to you. Me and Pastor Deb, we've been knowing each other since ACS when we were young whippersnappers in our 20s going out to save children. Now she's heading up a youth program there at Cornerstone for Gun Hill, so necessarily needed, and we thank you and congratulate you and much success to you. in the future. Got to give another shout out. You know, when you talk about Jesus, anytime I want to say amen, Farrah, thank you for chiming in tonight and giving us your amen. And of course, Les Glover, thank you for tuning in and saying hello. And of course, we gotta give Farrah. What is Farrah saying? Farrah just says, "I'm here," I guess. Understanding and appreciate wisdom come with age. There you go. Well, God bless us and be well. So let's jump back into the second half of the show. And with the second half of the show, we're here with Brother Robert Hall, who is the TA president which is the Tenant Association president of NYCHA New York City Housing Authority. And we're so grateful for your energy and the time that you put in and you continue to put into helping the NYCHA there at Gun Hill. I do got to go back now and ask this question. You know, you talked about participation, how to get more residents to understand. So can you tell us, you know, you talked about Hope Day, NYCHA Day, used to be in August. Now it's, you know, you moved it because of lack of being able to get enough police support. I think we can talk offline and figure out there's a way that doesn't become an issue. And if you're looking to bring back consistency, you know, we can figure out what that looks like. But what we really want to know, what is NYCHA Day and what is the importance of bringing residents and community together for events like NYCHA Day?
Well, bringing people together, they need to first of all celebrate the Most High, but they need to celebrate the fact that they're here with a roof over their head. And that gives you the stability to go forward. When you don't have a consistent roof over your head, you cannot think in a chronological manner to be successful. It becomes quite problematic. It really does. And I've seen many people falter. But I mean, even I was raised to know the best thing for you to do, if you want to fight, go fight for where you live. Straighten up where you live. Celebrate where you live. It's the most important celebration you can have, because everything, and I use this as my plateau, everything starts with home. If you know how to love, you learn that from home. And to have a stable roof over your head gives you that opportunity to focus so that you can be the best you can be. And that just goes without saying. That's a monumental statement that is necessary for survival.
Yes, it is. I have to agree. I applaud you on that. Super applaud you on that. And you're a wise one. So, you know, I was told some time ago, you know, home is where your heart is. So if you're going to say, I'm going to live in Gun Hill houses, then your heart got to be there. You can't, you know, live there or rest your head there and then tear it up at the same time. Let
me tell you. I grew up in Gun Hill. I used to run up from Holland Avenue, from Gun Hill Road to Holland to go to 216 Park. And your father used to coach me. And every time I made it up to 216 Park, he told me, if you ain't got a sweater, I'm not going to put you in the game. I was so upset. I used to say, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to kill that man. but you know what? I ran up and down Holland Avenue so much that I never left Gun Hill Park unless I was ready to go up to Olinville Park, because you had to be ready up there.
Yes,
you had Tom Henderson. You had some serious ball players up there.
That's right.
So I was always trying to be ready, and your father would always block me. But you want to know something? Somebody found me because the gentleman said he could take a basketball and run up and down the court quicker than I could blink my eye. And that's how I got my college degree.
Wow.
Because somebody found me.
That's right.
So then I fell in love with your father. I said, this man is okay. Doing it is one thing. Mm-hmm. But after you do this and you get the wisdom and you go away and you come back, you want to help somebody else.
There you go.
That's what it is. You want to help somebody else.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I loved your father for that.
Well, you know,
I didn't know it then.
And those are life lessons that you learn in that first half that you don't understand their life lessons till you actually, they become part of your makeup in the second half.
Oh, that's it. That's it. The best thing about a freshman, they become a sophomore. Don't ever forget that. That's it.
That's real. That's rich. That's rich and true. I appreciate that. So listen, we talked about your family days and why it's so important. And all nights just have them. And I've learned this year that some nights just aren't having them for whatever reasons they're not having them. But can you talk to us, in addition to what you just shared, how valuable it is, for people just to engage? You talked earlier about the cleaning of the leaves. I know in the council, we established something called Operation Cleaner Street. We come to Gun Hill. We came and did a massive cleanup with everybody, and no one keeps your house clean like you keep your house clean. How do we encourage NYCHA residents? And since we're talking about NYCHA, I'm not going to talk about anybody else. How do we encourage NYCHA residents to really take more stock into where they live and protect where they live?
The first order of business is don't talk about it, be about it. Come out. Don't sit there and talk about it. Come out and experience it. Take a shot. The one thing we do, we find something wrong with everybody. Turn it around. Find something right. That kid that's peeing in the elevator, you don't know. He could be a terrific artist and you have no idea what skill he has. So you know what? How are you going to attack a problem of that nature? But you have to find the best interest in every individual because we all have something good in us. You got to find it, but it's there. And this is something that I've learned over the years. We raise so much hell that the hell is right there. We're all striving to go to heaven. Why are you going to raise all hell? Listen, turn it around. Find out what's right. Get what's right. Use that righteousness to the best of one's capability and sell that. Because that is what they can go forward. If what they have to offer is presented in their best interest. And that's the name of the game. That is really the name of the game.
I like the way you put that. There's a difference, if you treat your place and like you're not trying to go to hell, and if you do that, then you can see some of a heaven on this earth. I know coming to Gun Hill as a child, the families, everybody was a family unit. Everyone played on the rocks, and just had a wonderful time. And if some young person was out of line, there was a parent to say, "Listen, hold up," and then everybody was okay with. Everybody was that village. How do we get this day's generation? And I heard a young brother on social media says, this generation is happy, excuse the language, is happy with doing and engaging in activities to go to hell. And I was trying to understand, I said, that's profound because they're not doing anything spiritual, not doing anything joyful, not doing anything right to make it a better life for themselves. They're doing work that literally destroy themselves to go to hell. And he says, I don't understand. And he must have been maybe about 19 himself. But this is him calling on his own peers to say, how do we get it right? So the question, how do we bring that village back? Because there are a number of NYCHAs, people are just coming in and they're not trying to even figure out how to assimilate into a culture that can be better for them.
Well, we have to start from the ground floor. And that's respectability. All right? You don't have to like certain things. Respect what is right. Whatever is right gets the quality. It gets people's attention because people want to go forward in a progressive manner. And if you keep that in mind, all right, the righteousness will outweigh the wrongness. And it's simplicity from that respect. But we could talk about it, but when it comes to presenting it, everyone needs help. And some folks don't know how to elicit help. They just act out. And we sit down and we witness this. And when you see this, you got to realize that's why this person needs help, but he don't know how to say it. So now the ball's in your court. And you have to sit down and surmise this and do what's right.
Well, I appreciate it. You're right. Some of our young people do not know how to express. Some of our elders have not been able to do a wonderful job in transitioning communication skills to our children these days. And COVID has been a mess for communications and development for this generation of people, period. If you didn't have any spirituality, if you have any stabilization within your mind and your spirit, you are upside down right now. So I can only imagine what a 13-year-old today is truly still a 10 and a half because of lack of social, physical, and psychological development that was missing, that was necessary. But this is where our spirituality comes in, and youth programs that are qualified to help and deliver. And speaking of youth programs, we're going to take a break right now. We're going to hear from one that's been doing some good work for over 18 years. We'll be back after a message from the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program.
The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, YEP, is a youth organization that has served the Northeast Bronx for 17 years. During our tenure, we have provided recreational and educational forums that have nurtured the growth of many youth in the community. YEP has also serviced hundreds of youngsters around New York City. YEP's target audience is youth from the age of 11 to 18 with the goal of helping youth become productive adults. YEP provides young people with resources to explore leadership skills, community involvement, and self-development. YEP consists of weekly and bi-weekly informational sessions with guest speakers from professional, political, and entertainment arenas. Also, as a part of community involvement, YEP will host trips to a variety of venues for educational and recreational experiences. As we continue to partner with other local organizations and serve our community, we will strive to unite and develop the youth in our community. The mission of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program is building mind, body, and community.
Oh yeah, building mind, body, and community. 18 years of service here in the Northeast Bronx and beyond. So grateful. My wife and I started it over 18 years ago. Never known we would still be in our 18 years. We'd still be helping children and turning parts of our house into a little clubhouse during the pandemic just to save some lives, doing what we can do. I always taught, from Pops himself, lack of funding doesn't mean lack of service. And when people take that mantra, then they can be better about giving of themselves and not always waiting for a dollar to come in to start them off to do the work. Let's do it from love, people. Let's do it from love. Listen, we're in the last segment here, Robert All, and I want to thank you again for your wisdom. Now, question came in, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but inspiration for other NYCHA presidents. You've been successful. I was in office, you worked with me, you've done a lot of work to help get things done. So talk a little bit about how do you get to work with government and how do you get them to give the resources? What formula can you share with other NYCHA presidents or just anybody who's trying to figure out how to work with elected officials to get resources for their NYCHA development?
Well, the first thing you do is you assess what you need. Then after you assess what you need, you got to go out here and you got to be a people person, and you got to climb your way to those who can help fund what you'd like to acquire. But you have to do that, and there's a segue to it because you got to put in the mileage. All right? None of this happens overnight. When people see that you're in the best interest of your community and they want to do something right, they're going to help you. But you got to be doing something right. And you got to feel that what you're doing is in the best interest. It's not you personally. It's for where you live. And people will pick up on it, But then you have to do what they call the ask. All right? Because nobody's going to give you anything unless you ask them. But you must get to that point where you can ask. And in order to get to that, you must put out. Okay? I've done 20 years in the community board. All right? I've been blessed because you know what? Father Gorman and Carmen Rosa, after being under their tutorialship, hey, they speak for themselves. Yeah. All right? But these were people who really put out. I've never seen a priest who's a lawyer. Go find one. I said I'm never going to see this again. But I learned so much. And they help you be the best you can be. and they put you with people. All right. I can remember when my mother was in Kings Harbor, and I was very much concerned. My brother was leaving the country; he was going to Dominican Republic, and I was worried. I said, "What happens to my mother if something happens?" And poor Mr. Granby said, "If anything happens to your mother, you ain't going nowhere. You're gonna pick out everything you want, and we'll talk about finances later because you're a fabric of this community." And I cried because that meant so much to me.
Right.
So you meet the right people in the right places if you do the right thing.
I like that. And I was told people, places, and things is what matter in life. It will help you sing, and you want to sing the good word of Christ. So yes, doing the work comes its gift, comes its rewards. Again, lack of funding doesn't mean lack of service, because your service itself provided you certain financial prosperity and gains. Definitely. So you talked about being on the community board. Let's take a minute in time as we almost get close to ending. Talk about your experiences in the community board. What are you responsible for? How do you do what you do as the House and Chair committee for the Community Board 12?
Oh boy, it's an adventure. You learn so much. People want to build. People want to acquire, but you must position everything that's anything, and it's a work of art. But you have to stay fast. All right, you have to delegate responsibilities to certain people. I have a gentleman on my board. All right, and I'm meant to give him out, Deacon Brown. And every time you come to the meeting, Deacon Brown's going to say to you, "What are you giving to our community since you're coming in here and you want to do X, Y, and Z?" That's all he says. And he's going to bleed you on that fact. And before you leave the room, you're going to have to come up with something. Housing for the community, we're going to give 20% for the community first. He's going to make sure that you don't leave till you give us something. So what you do is you delegate tasks to some of the members, and they do the work because they do what they do. And the folks who come in and they want to develop X, Y, and Z, it may get successful, but it's in the best interest of this community that it goes forward, because everybody has a bit in the play. And that's what I call it. So it's now, I call it a play, because when you sit down, everybody knows what they got to do. And I just say, let's go to work. Now, what do you want to do? And the land use committee has the most potency now, because, people want to build high. They want variances changed, and that all comes under land use. So it's very important that you understand, and you do by talking to other people. You learn a lot.
Okay.
You learn a lot.
So let's talk about quickly before we wrap up. We got roughly about 3 to 4 minutes left, because as the chair of the Housing Committee and also working with the land use community, part of the district, especially where Gun Hill is kind of transforming. You see Gun Hill Road, there's large developments being built, multi-dwellings. I don't know how high, whether they're 20 stories high or they're 15 stories high. But it appears that when they're all concluded, there's going to be a lot of activity. How do you, as the housing chair, create a balance when developers are coming in and wanting to take space and change the rules of engagement? And how do you protect the integrity of what's here without oversaturating areas and changing the whole landscape of what a district looked like for 50, 60, 100 years?
Well, that's become somewhat problematic, only because they come in droves. All right. All of a sudden, everybody wants to come up in the Bronx. Money-making Manhattan has done their thing. Queens is Queens. Okay. Brooklyn is Brooklyn. Everybody wants to build and create in the Bronx. People who own homes They don't live in the homes. They sublet the homes. And the problem is we need the owners to get a lot of work done, because people who just live there, they just live there.
Mm-hmm.
So the old block associations, and I got to give 222nd Street Block Association their props, because they're always there. They're always ready. They don't care. They got a block association, hook or crook, you know. But it's difficult because a lot of people just tend to themselves. They get a roof over their head and they come and go in the best interest of what they'd like to do. But they fail to realize if you network, you can go farther. And this is something that comes in time. And that's how you begin to know who the wise people are. All right. And since we're talking about Gun Hill Road, I guess I might as well throw this out. On the 27th of July, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony for, what is it? Eastchester Gardens? It's not Eastchester. Williamsbridge Gardens.
Williamsbridge Gardens. Oh, that's a new name for us now.
Yeah, that's the new name. That's
all right.
And just so for folks know what I'm talking about, those are the buildings that you've seen on 211th Street and 212th Street between White Plains Road and Holland Avenue. It's 170 units of housing, and a lot of the people are formerly homeless. But now they got a roof over their head.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question becomes, they have their own social service in-house. They got their own security right there in-house. But now, you now have a roof over your head. You know what it's like to be homeless. I'm really hoping that they come in with that energy and that adrenaline to want to give back to the community.
Right.
All right.
Well, I'm with you that to give back to the community, as well as it's the difference of being undomiciled. It's the difference of having a life circumstance that might have made you undomiciled, or just bad decisions that made you undomiciled. But if you are a stable individual, I'm hoping and I'm praying as we welcome in these new residents, that they find a way and understand our way of community. And if you're moving in a new place, if you're coming from Queens, Brooklyn, or Manhattan, now you're in a building, be a community. Don't come be a rebel rouser and just tear up where you live, or as I was once told, go to the bathroom where you eat. You know, don't do that. You know, I'll end right here, because I remember in the council dealing council member Annabelle Palmer, who used to head up homeless committee. And one of the things, the challenge is that when people were coming from places of being on domicile, they were allegedly to get the proper training of what it is to be back into an apartment again, what it is to be responsible for paying the bills. And certain things are not acceptable, like hanging your underwear out of the window. You know, it's not acceptable, or throwing baby diapers out of a window. These things are not, they were never acceptable, period. But now that you got a new place and a stable home, let's figure out how to be a better you, so life can be better to you as well. So I want to thank you for that information. But right now, Robert, with our time is concluded. As Carol Burnett, we used to say, I'm so glad we had this time together. Listen, I really appreciate your time and energy. If you got one word you want to give to our viewers to walk away with, what would it be?
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, and do the best you can do, and help somebody. Help somebody be better than you.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you again, brother. Stay tuned. We're going to be back. We're going to talk more with you off on the behind the scenes. But, you know, whatever you need, whatever we give you a part, let's talk some more. The door is always open for you to come back and chat some more.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you again. God bless you and the family. And this concludes this episode of King Talk Tuesdays. And as we always do on King Talk Tuesdays, we end every show with the scripture. Tonight's scripture reads from Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. If no one told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Your friend, your brother, and your neighbor, Andy King. Peace.